Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. Architect Abu Zarim, PAM Deputy President and also the Chairman of CPD Committee, PAM Council members, PAM members, PAM CPD Committee members, Secretariat staff, and also Garis Pizza, who is providing the technical support for this CPD online program. Welcome to this virtual session of PAM CPD Unlimited. 2 years ago, in November 2019, we had our first CPD Unlimited for the first time. I was invited by Architect Wan Sofia, the coordinator for the CPD Unlimited 2019 program, to present a paper. Regret that I have to decline the invitation because it clashes with my another program, the 9th Annual Development Conference in Singapore, where I was invited to present a paper together with our Minister of Housing and Local Government, YB Zuraida Kamarudin. I was informed by Architect Wan Sofia that the session in KL was well attended and there were minor issues on car parking space and room availability when we did the physical session 2 years ago. Time allocated for speakers were too short. Some couldn't finish the session before the following session starts in the same room. So initially, Architect Abu Zarim, the CPD chairman, planned to have physical CPD Unlimited program on 15 December last year. But due to the pandemic, then we have to postpone to 9th of January 2021. But again, the MCO was also extended several times, affecting our schedule. Finally, we have decided to have this session online. So today, this session will be conducted fully online due to COVID-19 pandemic and the SOP that we have to comply with. I hope this virtual session eliminates the problem that we had before. No more car parking problem, no more room availability problem. But please be prepared and tolerate with us. With this virtual session, speakers are everywhere. They are at home, in their office, and some are at PAM Center. So we are running multiple sessions concurrently. It is stretching the internet bandwidth that we have. But we have our technical team on standby. So we are experimenting this virtual CPD Unlimited for the first time. There are many things that we will learn from this session. Speaking on learning, I hope participants will learn new things from this program today. Under this pandemic and economic challenges, it is like racing. Every day we have to learn and get the new knowledge. Otherwise, we'll be left behind. We are happy to have our speakers willing to share their knowledge and new technologies with us today. I am glad that we have Architect Razin Mahmud. He will be sharing his journey, small team with big dream. And we also have Dato' Architect Saiful Anwar Aziz. He will be sharing his experience as a sole proprietor exporting services overseas. And of course, our special guest, Dato' Sri Engineer Zaini Ujang from Ministry of Environment and Water. He will be talking about eco-shift in built environment. We also have Taufik Nazaruddin, Nohayati Ahmad speaking about digital solution and Internet of Things. We also have Associate Professor Dr. Ahmad Tarmizi from UMP Holding. He will be speaking on BIM organization transformation. And we have Architect Gary Wong also talking about BIM today. And other than that, we have many more speakers on various topics. On fire safety design, we have Architect Chong Lee Seong, Engineer Hao Jiang Te. On construction contract related subjects, we have Architect Joseph Tan, Architect Lu Chi Kiong. We also have David Yek. We'll be talking about mediation and dispute resolution. We also have the topics on conservation by Mariana Issa, Mangjit Kaul, architect Rida Razak and Ahmad Najib Arifin, and also on urban design by Associate Professor Dr. Sharifah Salwa. I will not be able to say to mention all the names, but there are many more speakers. You can check with the program. And later in my session, I will also share the finding from our survey from the government agencies, developers, contractors, and individual project owners on what do they expect from architects in providing architecture services. Recently, we have conducted a survey to get the feedback from developers, contractors, and also government agency on their expectation on architects' services. And on behalf of PAM, I would like to thank each and every one of you for being here virtually today. This is our first ever virtual CPD Unlimited program. Please give us feedback at the end of the session so that we will improve things in the future. I hope that all participants will enjoy this session and have a good interaction with the speakers. Make sure you interact with the speaker. Don't just leave your computer on, but you are not there. So enjoy the session. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and good morning all. It's already 9 o'clock. Okay, I saw Prof. Fadzil and then...
I'm sorry, we are sponsor video. Can we wait for a while?
Pardon?
We are sponsor video. Can we wait for a while?
Okay, cool.
Sorry.
Today, we are the global leader in access solutions. It's a position that we have earned through strong growth and innovation in all core areas, such as sufficient door openings, trusted identities, and entrance automation. Some of our products are very visible, such as keys, doors, and locks, while other products are embedded in solutions like e-passports and identity solutions. We also combine products and software to become either a solution enabler or create additional value for our customer by being a full solutions provider. Being the global leader in access solutions is a result of our gradual evolution from being focused mainly on the door itself to having a wider perspective on our business and what we offer our customer. Our regional opening solutions divisions are the leaders in the provision of door openings and products for access solutions in homes, businesses, and institutions. Entrance Systems is the one-stop shop for automatic entrance products and services, including support and advice throughout the building process, as well as the provision of maintenance and updates. HID are focused on powering the trusted identities of the world's people, places, and things, making it possible for people to make transactions safely, work efficiently, learn confidently, and travel freely. And by focusing on end-user needs, Global Solutions provide total access solutions by combining products and software from opening and identity solutions to specific industry verticals, such as hotels and elderly care. As each of our divisions continue to focus on innovating and growing their core business, together we will continue to lead in access solutions.
Thank you for the presentation from our sponsor. So before we start our session today, can we just recite Surah Al-Fatihah before we start our event? اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم. Assalamualaikum and good morning to all. Thank you for spending your morning weekend with us in CPD Unlimited 2021. So this morning session will be, there are two speakers. We are going to discuss on the first session, we are going to discuss about Malaysian Construction 4.0 Strategic Plan 2021 until 2025. Are we ready for the digitalized construction? Then this one will be presented by Professor Surveyor Dr. Fadzil Hassan, which from UiTM. And then we've got Dr. Tarmizi with us here, which will be presenting organizational transformation in building information modeling. I hope both of our speakers have had their breakfast. So I will start to introduce our first speaker for today, which is Professor Surveyor Dr. Fadzil Hassan. He's been in academia with UiTM for over 30 years and following 5 years with the construction industry. Apart from being registered quantity surveyor, he is also a CIDB certified competent construction project manager and qualified QLASIC trainer. He was the head of Department of Quantity Surveying at FSPU and the head of Center for Construction Project and Infrastructure Management at the Faculty of Architecture, Planning and Surveying, FSPU, UiTM. Professor Dr. Fadzil Hassan also served the institution of Surveyor Malaysia as the external examiner for over 15 years and external examiner for several undergraduate construction-related programs offered by Malaysian University. And he is also participated in many national and international conferences as the chairman, technical committee member, and paper reviewer. He is also a member of a Malaysian Qualification Agency for construction-based program and led the team in developing Malaysian construction industry standard for construction project managers and construction managers. He also the editor and have referred a number of international conference paper and journals and won 2 gold medals for innovations in international innovation competition and has registered copyrights and successfully led few industry academia research projects in the area of design and build construction education, knowledge management, which involve 8 PhD research candidates. So our next speaker is Dr. Ahmad Tarmizi Haron. He serves as Associate Professor at Faculty Civil Engineering Technology, University Malaysia Pahang, UMP. He also currently appointed as a Dean of Commercialization, responsible for commercialization activities across university. As part of his involvement with the industry, he has been appointed as CIDB Building Information Modeling subject matter expert since 2019 to advise and execute BIN initiative on the Construction Industry Transformation Program, CITP 2016-2020. And he has vast experience in education, consultancy, and project implementation associated with BIM and digital construction. Among the signature project that he led in CITP PT07, KPI 70% uptake of BIM by the construction industry for the project above 10 million ringgit Malaysia, CIDB BIM Apprenticeship Program, MDEC, ICOE National BIM Technical Training, BIM Implementation for MBKT Tower and Polytechnic Bagan Datuk. So without no further ado, we can invite our experts in Malaysian Construction 4.0 Strategic Plan 2021-2025. Are we ready for digitalized construction? Professor Surveyor Dr. Fadzil Hassan to present his paper. Thank you.
I'm sorry, can you unmute speaker one?
Prof. Fadzil, are you there?
Can you take out your headphone?
Okay. So the synopsis of the presentation, as explained by Professor Dr. Fadzil Hassan, the Malaysian Construction 4.0 Strategic Plan to 2021 until 2025 was launched to replace construction industry transformation 2015 until 2020. So the aim was to modernize the construction industry through digitalization. While this was expected to be significant transforming the construction industry, many of the stakeholders are in the dark about direction to take in changes. So we know that many, especially on the small firms, are in the dark and in a question whether how this is going to be expedite. So this talk will share the industry to reform with the digitalization and the challenges that confronts the industry stakeholders. I think we are still waiting for Prof. Fadzil Hassan. If not, we are going to Dr. Ahmad Tarmizi. Can you start over with your presentation on the organizational transformation of BEAM?
You guys listen to me.
Pardon?
Oh, is it, I have two voices here.
Yeah, because you've got another one screen.
Okay, let me shut it down, the first one.
Okay.
Is it okay now?
Yes, it's okay. How are you, doctor?
Oh, yeah, fine. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes. So should I start first or?
Yes, I think we should start first because we are still waiting for Prof. Fadzil to be online.
So can you see my slide there?
Not yet. Yes, we can see your slides.
So I shall go first, isn't it?
Yes, sure.
Okay. That will change my first. Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good morning to all. My name is, as you were mentioned by the Miss Moderator, my name is Dr. Ahmad Tarmizi here. So today we're going to be talking to how many of you today in this session?
We've got 14, all of us.
14 participants here regarding to the organizational transformation of BEAM at UMP Holdings Sdn Bhd. Okay, I think the Miss Moderator already explained through the regarding to my background. So the latest appointment by the Ministry of Work is known as a Pakar Negara, even though the name is quite cocky to be put there. But as the letter stated, the Pakar Negara, so just
congratulations.
Okay, thanks a lot. So that basically looking into the preparing the Malaysia delegation to compete in a world scale competition supposed to be held this year at Beijing, Shanghai, but due to COVID things, so we may postpone it to next year. So the BEAM category is newly introduced in WSC, where
Ini what they have done,
skill
they ask the second
championship.
speaker to do the talk
And then
for half an
we
hour.
are
Lepas tu
responsible
I'll be
on our
coming in
side,
again. Kami standby je.
not just me alone there, but a group of people responsible to train Malaysian representatives to ensure that they are successful in at least getting a medal. I know it's going to be very hard to get a gold medal there. Okay, as far as BIM is concerned at UMP, basically we don't really establish BIM at UMP. So if you search through BIM in UMP, you can't find much in either we have a center or either we have dedicated academy, something like that. We don't have that in UMP. Because ever since we started to embark on BIM, we go directly with the commercial. So our establishment of BIM is part directly under UMP Holdings in Ahmad. So we have a dedicated unit there. So this will give you some idea of in which angle it's coming from. Because quite a lot of people thought that we are doing so many academic things regarding to BIM. As far as academic things, I think it only cater around, the maximum is 20% of that. We train everything, but even as far as research is concerned, we are also focusing more toward industrial research. And in fact, I myself don't even have any KPT grant research, either from FRGS or some kind of that. Okay. Okay, some of our significant clients is listed there, coming from, as far as building construction is concerned, coming from UEM Sunrise. And then we have Panasonic Homes. But I never had any job yet to serve the architect. It would be a good form if the architect will acquire services, yeah? Okay. So before we start, I think quite a lot of people are already familiar with this pillar of Construction Revolution 4.0. So currently the IR 4.0 or CR 4.0 is becoming a very buzzword. Before this, we have BIM becoming a buzzword. So under the pillar of Construction Revolution 4.0, this one will be released by the CIDB, but they have changed a few things there. But the one that I copy here is coming from WEC, WEF Working Forum. There are 10 pillars there. If we really want to embark on the Construction Revolution 4.0, we need to implement these 10 things. And then out of these 10 things that need to be implemented, the BIM, even though it's stated there at the number 10, is a prerequisite in order to implement the construction innovation. The main reason, because it provides a premise where all the data can be digitalized. The current problem that we have in the construction industry right now is that we don't really digitalize our data. So even though we say it is digital, but it comes in a scanned format in which we can't really mine any data out of it. Even worse other than PDF converted format.
Yeah.
The scanned format. So that's why it is very important when we're talking about BIM, we are not talking digitalization and BIM. The value proposition coming from BIM angle is the value of the data and information being digitalized. That's the thing that we need to look into. Because if we don't go into that direction, that means the BIM itself gonna be limited to the certain application only. So either for the purpose of documentation only, or for the purpose of tender submission, or those kind of things. Okay. So as far as the business is concerned at UMP Holdings, there are many business angles that we are doing in UMP Holdings, but as far as the construction is concerned, we are focusing on 3 angles. The first one is a capital venture for any innovation coming from either UMP or non-UMP. So they can come and seek for capital venture at UMP. If they are interested to invest in, then they will invest it. This is the first one. And the second one is a facility management for UMP, because currently we are managing 2 campuses. The first one in UMP Gambang, in which happened that we are also the asset owner. The whole campus Gambang is owned by UMP Holdings, and UMP is renting it from UMP Holdings. Another one is our main campus in Pekan, The one we are purely facility manager for facility management for UMP. Then the third one is a construction related to industrialized building system. So currently, previously we just completed the Rumah Mampu Milik, affordable housing. Under the name, the name is not very catchy name. My Beautiful New Home, my BN Home. Okay. So we need to secure one project there. That was completed and they hand over it to the end user. We're using the smart wall panel, using the wall panel. Then another one is a building information modeling. As far as how we start BIM at UMP Holdings,
Ada cara nak test dia orang boleh dengar ya.
it started from the initiative of digital transformation as the strategic investment to be competitive with the business. So the idea initially is to digitalize. When we're talking about digitalize, not talking about BIM alone, we're talking about the entire system together with the ordering system, reporting system, and those kind of things. So when we want to do the digital transformation for the strategic investment, then BIM comes in picture. So, okay, before that, so along the way, when we started to invest, then we get offered to do a lot of business in planning education, organizational transformation, project consultancy, and also research and development related to the industrial. So from the initial stage of setting up to do the digital transformation of the organization itself, since the job coming in for us to serve, so we couldn't resist to stop taking it, we just take the job on. So from there, we have established 4 areas of focus where we offer the services to the outside of our ecosystem. So, okay, back to the business again. So when we started BIM implementation to establish BIM in UMP Holdings, again, remember the initial purpose of our BIM implementation looking at 3 different angles. First, digital transformation, where we want to embark on IBS plus BIM at the construction level. Second one is organizational direction from UMP itself, where we need to digitalize all of our methodology to include also our UMP Holdings and all the subsidiaries. And then the third one is to deliver the BIM-based FM system within our ecosystem. So in order to allow for us to do these things, the first thing that we need to get familiar with is the BIM itself. So when you get familiar with BIM itself, it covers the whole entire spectrum of setting up the facilities, setting up the manpower, and then setting up the entire ecosystem internally in order to allow this thing to be taken place and deliver at a corporate level. So when we go back revisiting the situation in 2014, I think it's quite easier to penetrate BIM because people started to aware. We still have resistance. We still have, people who don't want to embark on BIM. But the moment you're talking about BIM, people already started to aware, okay, BIM, yes, CIDB, BIM, yes, in PEM, and also the institution. But coming back in 2014, the BIM is so alien to the construction industry. So I get my PhD last time in 2012. So when I want to push forward BIM implementation, then things that we started to face is that there is a very low demand of BIM. And when we want to subcontract our services of this transformation, we can't really find who is competent enough to help us to do these things. So we have no choice, either relying on the blind people to lead the blind, or we have to take initiative to build our own capacity to lead ourselves. That's the situation in 2014. I'm not talking about the industry already during that time. I'm talking about our experience. We couldn't find, within our limitation of resources, we couldn't find the right people to help us in order to do the transformation. Okay. Then, and also during that time, we don't really have any team in UMP or UMP Holdings. So now we have already have 3 dedicated specialized lecturers in doing BIM, myself and another 2. I mean, when I say dedicated, I mean their PhD purely in BIM. not some converted from other discipline, then suddenly become BIM. We're talking about their PhD, generally on BIM, and then now still doing BIM. And then the time again, there's no team in UMP or UMPH except myself. And then we also have no very limited business knowledge and experience to implement BIM. And then no network and connection, talking about the business network and the business connection. And then no funding, and I realized, and the most challenging one is unrealistic requirement to apply grant coming from the academic side and also from the industrial side, because the BIM itself, nobody bothered to look into during the time. So when I say unrealistic requirement to apply grant, if we're revisiting back in 2014, coming from the academic point of view, if you want to apply grant, the first requirement is that you cannot buy PC. So you are trying to do BIM, but at the same time, the grant stated you cannot buy PC. So how funny?
That's it, right?
Yeah. So then we are talking about not just a normal PC, we're talking about quite a
high-end PC.
High-end, not
Yeah.
high-end, mid-end requirement PC. So there's no way we can go to that direction. That's the departure point. That where we, myself, during the time, I personally decided, no, we can't go in this academic direction if you want to really push BIM forward, because not only talking about KPT, Ministry of Higher Education grant, we're talking about other grants as well. So you are allowed to buy the software.
Mm-hmm.
You are allowed to buy the software, but the software can only be used by utilizing all the current PC that we have in UMP, in which may be compatible, it may not be compatible.
Yeah.
Or in the other word, because we are technical university, we have many workstation high end. I'm talking about one workstation cost you around 60,000.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to try to use that PC, you already have the PIC in charge, where they have their own job as well.
Mm.
So that's it. I say that if we really want to go in this direction, starting to establish BIM from the academic and then convert it into the industry, it's going to take very challenging task to do that. So, and then at that time also, the IR 4.0, even BIM is not a budget yet. And then means that there's huge absence of strategic direction at national level. So coming from that angle, so what we did last time is that we need to really understand to what level that we currently at before we really embark on BIM. Are we at the aware level only? Are we sitting at the readiness level, or we are already mature? As far as a company is concerned, there's no way you can move alone. To a certain extent, you also need to acquire a third-party services in order to help you. So by understanding the aware and ready, it also helps you to understand the services that you want to acquire from the third party. Because as far as aware is concerned, if you look at it, a lot of people are aware to implement BIM. Then they can even explain better than whoever implementing BIM by themselves. But the moment you ask them to really implement BIM, only then you started to realize they are not really competent enough. They're not really ready enough to embark on BIM. So that's why in this sense, it's very important to have quite a good strategy or good methodology in order to evaluate not only your counterpart, not only your business partner, also the service provider that you want to acquire in order to help you to embark on the BIM journey. So I just keep the BIM level of implementation here. Okay, so because last time my PhD is regarding to the organizational readiness to implement BIM. So as far as structured implementation to roll out BIM implementation, I already covered within my 4 years of study during my PhD. So the general framework of BIM implementation for organization that I'm developing, just updating from Yusuf Asawi from Software University, is by using this methodology. So we need to really first understand the strategic planning from the business point of view on the strategic engagement. Why do you really want to implement BIM? Only then the BIM strategy can be drafted to tailor back the business needs. It cannot be the other way around. You cannot say you want to implement BIM because you want to do the 4D simulation on the application base, or you want to do the presentation purpose, macam buat fly through and those kind of things. You cannot justify on that angle. The most critical part to justify, especially to the board of directors of the company, to make them clear by implementing BIM how much money you can generate to them. As simple as that, make it much more easier for you to justify the implementation to the corporate level. So once we understand the business strategy and then BIM strategy, and then you need to do the strategy application, prioritizing in which aspect that you want to implement, and then you can propose the BIM implementation framework. So when you want to propose the BIM implementation framework, because you already have all the requirements that need to be developed here, then before embarking on the activities, you need to identify and assess how ready you are as far as the company is concerned. So talking about how ready you are, people always say people, process, and technology, but the most critical part also coming from the top management readiness to embark on BIM, because they cannot simply saying that top management say, we are ready, but we don't want to support you.
Okay, Dr. Tarmizi, I've been reminded by Pam that you only have another 5 minutes to wrap up your
5 minutes
presentation.
more. Okay. Okay.
You already been 24 minutes here.
Okay. I thought to make it fast here.
Okay.
Okay, and then from there, so some of the examples that you need to look into when you want to set for the BIM objective. Again, when you want to set the corporate strategic objective, it cannot be operation-wise. This is the one that we also always encounter when people try to do the implementation of BIM, because the implementation normally proposed by the technical people. So when the proposal coming from the technical people, they keep talking about the technical aspect, talking about how BIM can make their life easy, how BIM can make their operation easy, and this kind of things. As far as the company is concerned, you cannot do that. You have to justify, if by implementing BIM, how can you, for instance, you can say the increased productivity of the project delivery in later on in this sense, how are you going to contribute back to the money and income generation to the company? You can say minimize error and delivery, then think how this thing can be contribute to the saving and also income generation, and then to better manage project data information and how this thing can be value back to the organization. So if this thing can be communicated in a more business sense, then your organization becoming more confident in order to implement the implementation. Okay. These are the methodology that we use in order to do the benchmarking or assess the capability of the organization. We do all the mapping, everything. Then we try to look at which one is the highest readiness gap, so we can prioritize our implementation. So this one, simply try to understand the current status of where we at. And then from there, then we have started to develop the competency development, technical and operation management, where currently what we have now is a 4 PhD holder in engineering construction, specializing in BIM. We have 2 BIM certified BIM manager, and also at one time prior to COVID, we have 25 certified multidisciplinary BIM modelers working under us. So because of these COVID things, so we couldn't really sustain them all. Not that we terminate them, we just don't continue their contract. So living with us only 12 people. Purely, we're talking about 12 people, they are not working with UMP. They are pure engineer hired under UMP Holdings. And then at the same time, we also need to graduate the BIM infrastructure to fit back our business purpose. You cannot simply implement BIM straight away, build up the top end quality of the facilities. So we started by building it chunk by chunk and by using limited resources, and wherever resource that we can utilize from current available resource, again, like I said, the chances to buy a new PC, a new software, we don't really have during that time because of the policy. So we need to maneuver around with angle that we can use first. And then the most critical part when an organization want to embark on BIM, you need to have very good SOP and standardization within your company. Because most of the cases outside, and also when we do the transformation from other company as well, the standardization is, we're not talking about the standardization of BIM. We're talking about the standardization of data and information that you want to manage. Because if one person, for instance, for the architect coming from the architect point of view, if one project, you reporting the door schedule, different format as compared to another project, although it's coming from the same company, there's going to be a lot of trouble in order to sorting out the information and later to sorting out your project library and also BIM library later on. So that's why it's very important to have standardization, talking about the data information standardization before BIM can embark smoothly within the practice. So this is our general approach when we want to start BIM implementation at the project level. So every time when project start, all of our team members already aware and familiar with this methodology. Means that we need to extract out all the ER or BIM scope of work, and then we need to come out with this BIM project BIM process mapping. And from here, we need to come up with a digital work pattern structure to mesh back the requirement with the thing that we need to deliver as part of the deliverables. Something like this, the deliverable and modelable structure. Only then we can come up with a BIM-based CPM or master information delivery plan. So this part of the task will be tackled by our planner. This part of the task will be tackled by our BIM manager. Only then we can come up with a BIM execution plan, and the rest of it, we can implement it according to what we have already planned. So there are two parts of the standardization that you need to really make sure people are familiar with. The technical standardization of BIM data and information, and also standard process definition that you want to embark within your internal company. As far as with the project partner, it's really hard to define the process flow. Internally, we need to communicate using the same language, or else it's going to be very miserable.
All right. Almost time's up.
Almost time. Just a little bit more. And then these are some of the more further detail how we want to coordinate all of our internal process. And then a lot of things, since BIM is new, the capability of your team member in order to train other team member is very critical. The thing that we're facing last time is that when we started to implement BIM, when your people reaching a certain level, they tend to be pinched by other company.
Of course.
It's really hard to control because when you look at it, when we are doing BIM, we are not doing it alone. We are exposed to many competitors in which later on will become your rival. That competitor come rival and later on your collaborator, because they engage directly with your staff. So if you don't have a proper methodology in order to pick up, train and retain the loss of the people, it's going to be very troublesome if you want to embark on BIM. That's why on our part, we have our own, we develop our own KTMF, Knowledge and Talent Management Framework. And we have proper documentation on that. So people can come and go, but we can ensure within 1 month, we can retrain the people quickly, as far as quickly, then to transform back to become, not to say 100% competent, but at least can carry the new tasks that we have coming from the loss of the people that we have encountered. And then another thing that I started to figure out, when you develop training capacity within your at least 4 or 5 people, they will become very, very good coordinator and very, very good BIM manager, because they can speak better, communicate better with the project team and also to those business people, because they have already developed technical capacity to deliver the task and also communication skill and how to liaise with people as well. So
Okay.
that's important to have your own internal trainer, at least 2 people within your company. And then, of course, we need to start gradually to implement BIM. So you cannot simply, when you want to start from new, okay, we start to go straight away high rise. It's going to be very risky for your company as well. So let's start with a small and low risk project with one discipline. At the top of the here, bungalow house, we start first. The one is not really BIM. We just take free job. Yes, yeah, it's a free job last time to do the modeling only, modeling services to the people because we want to exercise the modeling methodology that we have developed. And then we can start multidisciplinary small project, single discipline medium project, multidisciplinary medium project, and then lastly large project. But again, because we are not coming from the angle of architecture, so why we need to have multidisciplinary within our company, because our focus later on, we need to digitalize all of the physical asset by UMP. That require for us to have multidisciplinary modeler so that all those things, all the models can be feeding back to our FM system.
All right, Dr. Tarmizi, your time is up. So
okay, that's all. That's all my presentation.
Yeah. We've got one question on your topic from Gary Wong. We'll do that on the Q&A session. But if you can answer it online, it's better.
Okay.
All right. So now we start with our second presenter, which was supposed to be our first presenter, Professor Dr. Fadzil, to present his slides. How are you, Dr. Fadzil?
I'm fine. You boleh dengar saya sekarang?
Boleh, boleh.
Okay, okay. Alhamdulillah.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much to Pam for inviting me to speak this morning. I'll just, without much further ado, I'll just proceed on with my slide because I think time is a little bit limited here.
Yeah.
So can you please allow me to share my presentation? Ladies and gentlemen, I've shared earlier a copy of my slides to all of you. So I hope that will be the basis for you to refer to later on, perhaps after the seminar, for you to refer onto some of the things that we discussed this morning. All right. Can I have the screen now, please? Yeah.
Excuse me, Dr. Ahmad Tarmizi, can you stop sharing to let Dr. Fadzil share?
Okay. I'll stop sharing.
Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, can you all see can you all see the slide on the screen today? Yeah. Okay, this is the topic of my presentation. Earlier we had a talk from Professor Ahmad Tarmizi. He's talking from the perspective of implementing BIM in construction project, the integration, the technicalities, and so on and so forth. I'm looking at the topic of my discussion today. We'll take from another view. Yeah, I would like to take the position and share with you the position of how we should be conceiving this issue of BIM digitalization from a helicopter point of view, because I think there are some pertinent things that we have got that I would like to share with you for us to consider when we talk about globalization, when we talk about digitalization, BIM, and so on and so forth. Now, I'm very sorry if I have to skip some of the slides because some of it might take a lot of time for me to explain, but should there be any inquiries, you can ask me slightly later or after the seminar. Yeah. Now, the contents that I would like to share with you is that I'd like to take you back, yeah, to understand the holistic scenario of the industry. And later on, hopefully at the end of the seminar, it can help to answer some questions. Yeah, should we be joining the bandwagon? Patut ke kita embrace BIM ni? How ready we are, and what is the prospect like? So to understand all those, I think we have. I would like to take you through to look at the whole construction industry scenario for us to actually know where our position are and how do we move forward from here. So my presentation will cover on the Malaysian Construction Industry Reform Program. Then I'll touch on digitalization Malaysian construction. Then we'll try to talk about moving forward with digitalization, the challenges, yeah. Should we join the bandwagon? And then after that, we'll have the Q&A. Now, I have purposely prepared this video as a basis for the narrative for the points that I would like to present. Yeah. Okay, to start off, yeah, I think let's take a few step backs and look at the industry on the overall, yeah. Okay, in so much as we talk about, the construction industry, we are capable of producing buildings like KLIA, KLCC, and so on and so forth, yeah. But on the other side of the coin, by and large, the construction industry is one industry that is besieged with kita ni with inherent with so much problems. And this has been the study that was done by EPU, by JKR, by CIDB, and way back in the early 2000. And putting aside, yes, we have got good project achievements here, mega projects that we have produced. These are some of the issues which the construction industry is trying to shed off. Yeah, the background to this, yeah, we put aside, kita tolak ke tepi projek-projek kita yang bagus, yang berjaya, but by and large, these are the issues that the industry is confronted with. Yeah, construction. This is a culmination of reports that I managed to gather from EPU, from JKR, from CIDB, and the research studies. By and large, kebanyakan, there are many of our projects until today which is delivered late. We have issues of poor quality. There are issues of health and safety resulting in accidents, loss of life. Yeah. There are issues of cost overruns. There are issues of low technology. Yeah. Environmental issues. There are a whole host of problems actually on the other side of the coin when you look at the construction industry. Now, in realization of these continuing issues, which is actually costing the government a lot of money, a lot of unproductive hours, investments, and so on and so forth. So the industry have actually embarked on a construction industry reform program. Yeah, the first reform program was launched in as it was tech under construction industry program. This was introduced in 2005 and was supposed to have achieved its objective by 2015. Yeah, the reform, it's a 10-year blueprint for a holistic development of the construction industry, which was meant to address the issues that we pointed out earlier. Yeah, and the focus was to help to develop the human resource, to encourage R&D, to promote sustainability. And yes, as early as 2005, they were talking about leveraging on IT in the construction industry and in construction projects. And there are issues of image and professionalism which they want to upgrade. Yeah. Fast forward 2015, yeah, the achievements was, as I would say over here, is very, very poor. The issues that was highlighted, very few of those issues. Yes, there was some significance, but not significant enough to reform the industry. The issues that we pointed out earlier, the issues of low technology, bad paymaster, accidents, late delivery, continue to be reported even after the construction, after CIMP1. Yeah. Following this, in realization that there is a need to persevere, the construction industry and the Malaysian government introduced the second reform program, which they call the Construction Industry Transformation Program. And it was supposed to be between 2016 and 2020. And the thrust of the reform was actually is quite similar to the thrust that we had in construction industry master program, was talking about improving quality, safety, professionalism, sustainability, productivity, and they talk about internationalization. Yeah, this was the strategic thrust that they introduced to try to kickstart where they left in 2016. Fast forward, yeah, now it's 2021. Again, you would see that on overall, and I think we have got to admit and we have got to realize that the problems that was reported earlier, way back when they started the reform program, is still very prevalent until today. Yeah, and and the industry got no alternative, but have got to continue to preserve. And interestingly, this time, what they have done is that one of the key initiatives that they have introduced is, sorry, before the COVID-19 issue, yeah, they have actually prepared blueprint, and they call it Construction Industry Strategic Plan 4.0. Yeah. Okay. Let's look back at some of the achievement and some of the major, look at some of the major elements of the strategic task, which I think that is going to impact everybody, including architects, QSs, and engineers, and so on and so forth. Now, among the things that are emphasized, and some of it are being implemented today, is the implementation of the CIDB Act 1994. Yeah. And this implementation, it says that construction CIDB now is going to register, accredit, and certify all construction personnel. Very interesting here, ladies and gentlemen, on this point, which I like to highlight here. It used to be dalam construction industry kita, it is only the professionals that are certified competent. Then when you are professional, you can use the prefix IR, SR, and so on and so forth. But now, the trust, I think, which is very significant dalam construction industry reform is the implementation of the IDB Act. That means here, selepas daripada ini, all construction personnel, apart from those yang are working with the consultants, but those working with the contractors. Yeah. It doesn't matter whether you are an architect, whether you are an engineer, whether you are not, you have to be registered with CIDB. The only exception is that if you're working for the consultant, yeah, in a capacity as a consultant, a member of the consultant team, you don't need to be registered. But apart from that, everybody has got to be registered. Yeah. Okay. And this registration of the construction personnel, it involves this registration of personnel involves registration of the whole construction implementation levels. Start down daripada general worker sampai kepada project manager. Yeah. And to support this, there are construction industry standards that have been produced. Yeah. So bermakna, and they were talking about implementing this policy officially by 2023. That means, yeah, that means if by that time, if we are an architect or you are a QS, we are an engineer, if we're going to work in a construction project in the capacity of a project architect, we need to be certified competent by CIDB. Yeah, same thing goes with an engineer or a QS. Yeah, yeah. Okay, now apa yang saya sebutkan, what I'm sharing with you has an implication later on with what we're talking about. Yeah. So there is the construction industry is going ahead with the registration of construction personnel as what you're looking at in we are looking forward in 2023. Okay. Now, terminologies. These are the technologies that are being promoted way back daripada CIMP Construction Industry Master Plan sampai kepada CITP and sampai the end of the construction industry transformation. The thrust of the reform program was for the construction industry and project to be green. So what we have seen is that in introduction of a lot of green audit tools. We have Green RE, we have GBI, CIDB, have MICRES, yeah. We have low carbon city framework and so on and so forth. There's quite a lot now in the market. Yeah, sampai kita pun mungkin kita confuse yang mana satu, which one is which, and so on and so forth. And the other thrust that is promoted, that is pushed strongly in the construction industry reform, is the use for industrialization, industrialized IBS systems in the industry. The third technology is, yes, seperti mana our colleague Prof Ahmad Tarmizi have mentioned, is for the initiative to promote green dalam construction, to promote the use of BIM in construction projects. And also supporting this is not only BIM, it's not only IBS green, also central to it as issues relating quality. This is where you have the introduction of QLASIC, and also for concern for the safety, you have the introduction of SASHIC, Safety and Health Assessment System in Construction. Jadi kan, if we were to ask ourselves what were the technologies that was emphasized for reform in the construction industry, I would say that there are these 5 key ones that the industry is trying to get the stakeholders to reform towards. The use of green concepts in construction, modular construction, industrialized building system with the aid of BIM, yeah, and with also emphasizing on quality and safety and health. Yeah. And I would say that, ladies and gentlemen, I think if we have many of us who are practitioners today, this is going to be the continuing thrust in the next years in the construction industry. That means that if there's any capacity building that we need to be developing in our own company, these are the key areas that I suggest that we look into in strengthening our capability in the delivery of projects. Now, let's talk about digitalization of the Malaysian construction. Yeah, for your information, yeah, this was supposed to be announced by the industry. Yeah, and this is led, the digitalization punya initiative is led by the Kementerian Kerja Raya. And they're supposed to actually have a formal launch of Construction 4.0 strategic plan earlier this year. But I think this was put on hold because of the COVID-19. And interestingly, the whole thrust of the construction strategic plan is talking about digitalization. Yeah. And
Dr. Fadzil, sorry
saya,
to interrupt you. You got 5 minutes more.
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just go through very quickly. Yeah. So the
Okay.
thrust of the digitalization, you would see that you're talking uh, about upscaling the people, the use of integrated technologies, and so on and so forth. And technologically, yes, I borrowed slide ni daripada Prof. Ahmad Tarmizi sini. These are the technologies that they are talking about. I would like to share with you that, in my opinion, it's not just about BIM. Yeah, when you talk about digitalization in the construction industry, BIM is a very significant component, but it is an enabler for other technologies to be incorporated in the project management process. Yeah. So digitalization of the technologies that has been singled out for application adalah the use of big data analytics, cloud computing. Yeah, we are talking about autonomous construction plant and equipment, modular construction, augmented reality, 3D printing, use of 3D scanners and supervisory goggles, and so on and so forth. This is what the industry is getting the stakeholders to move towards. Yeah. So moving forward with digitalization, yeah, I think let us go back when we were posed with this question. Yeah, saya rasakan, okay, kalau dalam digitalization, how do we digitalize? Dekat mana, where do we start, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so our university have started this research and looking back at the context of project management, construction management, in trying to figure out dekat mana application of digitalization. Yeah. So this was the model that we used to look at how is it going to impact project management and construction management. Dalam project management, which is common to all of us, yeah, these are the core activities that are undertaken in a typical construction project. Yeah, and we would see that these are the core activities, very typical activities that takes place in any project management process. Now, bila kita cakap pasal digitalization, now how do we add in the digitalization? Dekat mana datangnya IBS, dekat mana, where is 3D printing incorporated, where is BIM kita nak kena gunakan, and so on and so forth. So we would see that before we actually can talk about assimilating digitalization within the construction project management, we have got to see which technology fits within which core activities, which I would believe sampai hari ini belum ada lagi. Yeah, there is no actually guideline or clue as to which. How do we digitalize BIM with augmented reality, with modular construction, and so on and so forth. Even until today, we talk about BIM, there are people who is questioning the readiness of the current construction contract to accommodate project yang pakai BIM. Belum ada lagi yang di-recognize. So the issue of digitalizing the construction process ni masih lagi sangat-sangat kabur lagi. Yeah, honestly, really. Yeah, with the exception of a few big projects. Yeah. So kalau design and build, we will feel that it is a little bit more friendly towards digitalization because you get to see the integration between the design and the construction process. Yeah. But having said that, for our project to be successful, it's a culmination of us in simulating all these technologies dalam kita punya project. I'll skip this thing. Minta maaf on moderator, yeah, because of short of time.
Yeah.
I wish I could have the
Thank
time. And this is where in my slide I've actually prepared how it's going to impact construction management pula. Yeah, how is it going to affect construction management? How is it going to affect project management? And this is the critical success factors for implementation. Now, these are the important points, or the takeaway point for today, which I would like to deliver is that bila kita lihat digitalization, you will see that it is actually like putting a stop to the whole dominoes that we are so used to in the whole project implementation process. Yeah. Now, we would see that there needs to be a reconfiguration of the project management process. Yeah. Which we would see that kalau dulu kita buat project, dia macam ni ya, kita ada tahu lain, toge lain dalam. But now when you talk about this integration of globalizing, is everything now it becomes a rojak. And we have got to establish this rojak ni. How do we arrange things pula dalam rojak ni punya scenario ya. And this is where ya, bagi saya when you talk about this digitalization, there is a lot of learning for us to do, honestly, at the industry level. So much in learning to do. Then it requires us to learn, unlearn, and relearn back the whole project process. It's a whole reconfiguration of things. Yeah. So the question of, is the industry ready? Now, the question is that should we go on board with the digitalization? Well, if you ask my opinion from the research that we have done in our university, for digitalization, for it to work for the whole industry, the ecosystem must be in place. Yeah, kalau ecosystem tu tak ada, you just tweak on one or two things, it will not work. And I would believe that this was also apply for BIM. Yeah, which we believe that this is you have the people aspect, yeah, where you have the process aspect of things, and you have got the value. Political means you need to have a strong government support, yeah, support from the professional institution, the developers, the major stakeholders. We need to tweak on kita punya legislation, bylaws, standards, contracts, and everything, plus at the project management process. Yeah. And I would believe that, this is drawing from my experience in sitting in the committee in CIMP and CITP. A lot of failures of the CITP is actually because we lack consideration for the whole ecosystem. That means if we talk about digitalization, government agencies, CIDB, CIO, professional bodies have got to come in with this digitalization agenda and do their part. The same thing is that the universities have got to start training people. Macam mana nak buat BIM, macam mana how to apply this digitalization process. At the same time, there are also you need to tweak the regulations. Yeah. Kita punya building approval process, submission of kita punya building plans for approval, this is a sore point in a lot of construction industry programs, is because the local authorities cannot keep pace with the technologies which the professionals are trying to do. So as a result, a lot of project yang nak buat pakai digitalization atau BIM, the local authorities cannot accommodate. So, and also at the same time, the project management process tu saya kata, we need to be configured all over again. Yeah. So if you will ask me at the moment, I think this is the question which a lot of people will ask. Should we start with joining the bandwagon? Yeah. I think it's a very difficult question to answer. But in moving forward, bagi saya, this is very, very confusing. But what we need to do is, ladies and gentlemen, I think we got to ask ourselves, yeah, you duduk dalam ecosystem mana? Yeah, for you, the way I look at it is my personal opinion. For you to implement BIM or even digitalization, it depends on the client that you have. Kalau you buat dengan Iskandar development, if you're going to this, if you're involved with MRT project, yes, you can go ahead. Because these are the kind of projects which we feel there's value. There's a lot of value, and the clients realize the value of digitalization and BIM. Tetapi, but if you are a contractor buat sekolah, if you are a consultant managing sekolah, perumahan, except for industrialized building process, it is not necessary for you to be totally digitalized the whole way. Maybe some aspects of your work needs to be digitalized. So the question of whether should you join the digital bandwagon, it depends on the project ecosystem you are in. Second thing is that I would like to look into is to look at the kind of projects that you are doing. If you are doing bungalows, yeah, If you are doing bungalows, you are doing schools, project yang kecil-kecil, which caters for G3, G4 contractors or your renovation contractors, well, I would say that tak perlulah sampai ada total digitalization altogether. Yeah. Okay. And then at the same part is that we have got to also look at modular construction market trends and growth. Because modular construction and digitalization ni tadi, it works very well. It fits in, yeah, with industrialized building system. But on conventional construction system, well, not totally everything can be digitalized. The system is not complementary. At the same time, you have got to look at your own capacity. You ada energy ke tidak lagi to expand yourself, to learn and relearn all this technology. Plus, you have got to look at whether you have the capability to make that capital investment in all those technologies and training your people. So there you are, ladies and gentlemen. I hope I've given you the scenario for us to look at. Maybe some of the things that we pointed, I hope, will help to shed some light and insight as to the question of should we join the bandwagon? Should we embrace totally BIM hari ni? Forget about everything and invest, total investment. I think these are some of the points of consideration. Yeah. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much. I really hope that whatever that I've shared with you have shared some interesting insights for you, yeah, in moving forward in our business and in moving forward in your profession. Thank you very much. So over to you, moderator.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. Fadzil. It was a very interesting topic for me. I think for all of us today in this session, so much to say, but so little time. Okay, we start on the Q&A session. There's a I mentioned earlier there's a question for we can request Dr. Tarmizi to answer this. This is from Gary Wong. You earlier touched on BIM certification to expedite BIM usage among consultants. What is your recommendation to get building professional bodies like PAM, SM, RISM to develop their own BIM certification? Are there any examples from other countries that we can model out?
Okay, before I answer the question, because I need to add a bit about regarding to the BIM ecosystem. Okay, it has been highlighted by Prof. Fadzil. Okay, because when we embarked on BIM last time under CITP, so the BIM initiative was led directly by KSU Secretary General of Ministry of Works. I've been sitting there for 5 years. Then we already have our own BIM ecosystem under CITP. So by coming to the CR 4.0, it's just a continuity how we want to leverage, because there's BIM ecosystem looking at on BIM digitalization only. But when it comes to the CR 4.0, we're talking about another 9 elements that need to be incorporated. So as far as BIM ecosystem, we do have last time under CITP under RMK 11. Then come the like I explained myself just now. We have 3 major KPI that need to be achieved. The first one is for private sector to implement BIM for the above for project above 10 million. So and the one surprisingly under my KPI, we need to approach all of the developers in order to persuade them to implement BIM. The one under myself. Not to say we are totally successful. To certain level, we managed to convince certain developer like Samdabis, certain like Sunrise, and certain big developer to implement BIM. That's why if you look at it right now, there are so many projects required BIM to be implemented. The first one. Second one, coming from JCAP point of view, new project going to be implemented in BIM. Either this school project, either this non-school project, or I think as long as it is above, compulsory is above 50 million. But right now, as far as the new contract tender out, regardless either is 10 million or how many millions, most of them currently in the design stage, because they're putting 2 tender there, design, construction, also design build. The design currently all required to be implemented in BIM. Then the third one is falls under PAM itself, is BIM e-submission system. I think Gary and also Hussam are leading this one. They need to be developed. So you're going to take quite some time if I want to talk the entire ecosystem of implementation. As far as the industry is concerned, the ecosystem is there already. There's no way you can say no. As far as design team is concerned, But as far as construction team is concerned, talking about the design and build contractor, even though they managed to secure the job in the design and build contract, but based on our experience, they're still implementing it macam conventional, segmented. And also, as far as contractor is concerned, yang itu is a big issue. I do admit on that area, because there are a lot of things need to be done, and how the structure of the training itself need to be really thoroughly looked into, to help the construction manager, the construction personnel to embark on it. Okay, the reason I need to highlight from this angle, because last time when we developed the BIM module, we developed it under the CIDB. Then CIDB cannot go further detail to go, okay, for instance, okay, as far as BIM modeler for architecture, we have under CIDB. Structure, we have under CIDB. But this one looking at the, we said, general application, where if you are architecture, you are a structure engineer, you are a contractor, how you want to utilize BIM. But as far as specific application is concerned, for instance, you want to do BIM for drawing submission, the CIDB are not looking into that. And this is not their responsibility to look into that. So that's why CIDB are not looking into that direction. And then we do hope that when we develop the module, the general fundamental module coming from CIDB, so that people will understand the BIM looking into information and data, and how this can be migrated from design, construction, and later on handover. But as far as dedicated function, let's say BIM for structural modeling, rebar modeling, everything, then one should be looking into back, should be given back to IEM. BIM for architecture specific application, that you want to do the submission, you want to do the apa nama tu, kali-kali pada bilik tu, the room schedule, everything. That one need to be looked at by a PEM. So I would suggest, to respond back to the question by Gary, if you want to adopt from other country, it's going to be, you guys need to answer the same question. If you want to adopt architect from other country to come in working with Malaysia, can you simply adopt from there? I don't think so, because the legislation, the liability is different. I would suggest PEM to come up with their own practical module. You cannot, this is not the time to come up with the general module or management module, because towards the end, you need somebody to look on the technical aspect to deliver the task. Because if everybody want to become BIM manager, want to become management aspect, who's going to do the dirty job? Who's going to do the modeling? Who's going to do the data management, everything? So the challenges, another challenge that you may face right now, if you want to do the technical aspect of BIM, and talking about the training, it always goes back to the which software that you use. Because you cannot make it practical enough talking about different software. Because I'm coming from the angle of project planner before I embark on BIM. That's why if you look at my methodology, more towards a project planning approach. Same goes with the project planning. If you want to be very practical project planning, theoretical part, yes, you need to have some how to do the forward pass, backward pass, and those kind of things. But when it comes to make the knowledge become more practical, it goes back to which software you want to use. Is it because of project, or you want to use a Primavera? Because these two software are going to be using different kind of methodology.
Yeah, they have different kind of approach.
So
and the program.
Some goes with the PEM methodology. I think it would better if you can come up with two, because either you want to do ArchiCAD, either you want to use Revit, but still using the same project data. So if you want to do submission by using Revit, this is how technically you need to deliver it. If you want to do submission by using ArchiCAD, this is how it need to be structured. If you can do that, then it will be pretty much good enough, practical enough for the people in the architect community in order to embark on it.
All right. We've got one question for Prof. Fadzil from Gary Wong as well. That you mentioned about consultant to have registered with CIDB. Yes. His question is that CIDB does not regulate our profession and they do not understand our services. Would you agree that certification be best regulated by each individual professional bodies?
Okay, to answer that question, in the first place, saya bukan orang CIDB. I'm not from someone CIDB, but I will share with you, Gary, what I know about CIDB. Yeah. Okay, if you look at it, I think there is no such things as what you think you are thinking about. You know, it's not that. It is not what is CIDB is not trying to regulate architectural profession. Yeah, they are still respecting all the professional body, all the professional body competencies and so on and so forth. If you look at, I suggest that you look up on CIDB registration. You look up on CIDB Act. CIDB is actually given the responsibility to regulate all construction personnel. Yeah, all the construction personnel means it's regulating all those that is managing the construction project. Yeah. So in their regulation, they have separated. Yeah, this is talking about people in the project management, managing the project. The project managers, the construction managers, the site supervisors, and so on and so forth. But if you are an architect, or if you are an engineer, or if you are QQS, now you are being engaged by the contractor to undertake the job. Yeah. So you cannot automatically qualify to become a project manager there. Yeah. What CIDB stipulates is that you must be a certified competent project manager. You must be a certified construction manager for you to be working in that capacity. Yeah. But if you're operating as a consultant architect with the consultant organization, and you're providing the services, the regulation does not cover you. The requirement does not require you to be covered there. Yeah, that's my 10 cents opinion about this. I'm not someone from CIDB, but that's what I understand.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Okay, I've got a question for Dr. Tarmizi. Do you, the do you have any idea what kind of approach that need to be considered by small firms and then big firms for the transformation in BIM?
Okay. The first mistake that we noticed, because I've been performing more than 10 companies, covering the small firm and also big firm, also GLC, but none of them architect. So sorry, but I can't really relate much the reality of what happening with the architect. Okay. One of the common mistake that they make is that they start buying the software, they start buying the PC.
Okay.
From my point of view, you start investing in the people first. Start sending the training to the people first. Because this is a situation like this. If you buy the software first, but people are not ready to use it, let's say after 6 months, only then they are capable of doing it. So you're already wasting the 6 months of certification of the software. So it would better if you develop the competency first, and then it's not good to talk here, but there are so many free license that you can utilize there.
Yeah.
The purpose of training first. So once it's reaching certain level, there are two parts: whether you are competent, whether or not you are comfortable. The problem is you may be competent. When somebody asks you to do the BIM task, you can do quickly as it is. But whether or not you can be comfortable to embark on the new project by using that methodology. The one that we look into, to make people feel comfortable implementing BIM is very challenging. So because that's why if you want to embark on BIM, the best step to do is first attending the formal class. Second, start ghosting a project if you have time. Currently is the best time because there's not so much project there. So ghosting means that you just replicate back all the project data that you previously have in your company and extract out all the deliverable according to the drawings. Automation within your BIM template. And then you start on, from there you're going to be reaching a certain level of comfortable. And then start to embark on the so-called pilot project. And to embark on the project, you need to get a really good partner to do it. Talking about the other design consultant and also your prospect or your client. Same methodology if you're talking about a project, medium project, small project, big organization. This is I think the best approach if you really want to implement BIM.
Okay. For Prof. Fadzil, do you on the side of the transformation program 2015 to 2020, okay, how this program can help the industry, especially the consultants, which are most of them are sole proprietor?
That's a very, very good question, ya. Okay, untuk menjawab soalan tu, to answer that question kan, I think what we need to do is that kita kena tanggalkan kacamata kita our architectural glasses, ya. And kita kena pakai glasses of economics, strategic management, dan kita kena pakai kacamata business management. Then you will see things very differently, ya. Now, if I may just share with you, I think if I'm a practitioner today, if you ask me that question, this will be my answer. I would say that it depends on who your target clients are. Yeah. Okay. Now, I think not many of us are aware. Yeah. Dalam construction industry today, yeah, in the construction industry today, you say that the demography of projects yang ada dalam industry, I would say that today is almost 80% private sector and 20% government. Yeah. And surprise, this 20%, ya, kalau kita cakap macam ni, can be sensitive, but it's monopolized by a few giants yang ada dalam industry. You talk about the GLCs, which government own, macam Sime Darby, Sime UEP, you talk about Sunrise, and so on and so forth. Bulk of kita punya total, I think the volume of jobs that we have is about 200 billion. I think easily about more than half goes to all these people. Ya. Dan kalau saya rasa projects yang memerlukan this digitalization, projects yang memerlukan pakai BIM immediately, these are the customers. Yeah, that will be in need. They will find BIM, will find digitalization useful to them. So to answer your question, are these your target clients? All right. If you are with them, yes, I would suggest you go full-fledged. Go, because there's huge opportunity for you. But if you are a sole proprietor, ya, kita dapatkan projek kecil-kecil, kita buat banglo, small housing projects, ya, ataupun kita harap projek JKR, buat sekolah, rumah mampu milik, and that kind of thing. Well, do you think it's wise for you to go jump in straight away and invest everything that you have on BIM? I don't think that is a wise decision to do, isn't it? Yes, to answer your question is that I think you have got to look at the business aspect of your profession. Yes, the same. I'm a QS. I think I also do the same. It depends on which client am I going to serve. Ya, kita tengokkan siapa yang memerlukan ni. And that is why kalau saya boleh share a little bit dengan Profesor Ahmad Tarmizi, ya, the thing is that this is where saya ni kan, coming from the academic, I've been researching two parts. Yeah, this is where we got a lot of grouses daripada orang and about feedback about this construction industry transformation program. Everything is geared towards servicing all these giants. Yeah. What about those yang marhain ni, the small proprietors, the small contractors, the small developers that has been in neglect? But all the energy in the construction industry has been very much skewed to getting to serve these major GLC corporations and so on and so forth. And that is why I think there is a lot of resistance sebenarnya. Yeah, lot of resistance among all these people who seems to be, they are being displaced. Yeah, because of this transformation and so on and so forth. Wallahu alam. That is my 10 cents of opinion, moderator.
Yeah.
Okay, you have a respond back to the Prof. Fadzil. Dia macam ni, and it's very, very tough as well. I've been sitting here in the committee for 5 years. As far as SME, just years, but in the committee in the IWG level, ever since the SATP is established, to look into BIM. Because, okay, the first thing that SATP get to bash on is that you are governing the contractor. Why are you burden much to look into architect? Lagi tengok SATP kena. Because dia macam ni. Because if the design doesn't start first, you cannot expect the contractor to follow.
Yeah.
During that time. So if the major player doesn't start first, you cannot expect the small player going to embark on it. Jadi they always, not to say I need to defend SATP as well in this sense, because what we've been doing. And then along the way, in order to help the contractor and also small SME to have, that's why they introduced BIM transformation fund to those players. And then, of course, the budget is very limited. Only certain people managed to secure that fund as well. But that one already benefiting more than, I think, more than 100 companies there in order to make useful of it. So and last time when we tried to push forward to RMK 12, this time around the focus more geared to main contractor. That's why right now, if you look at it, CIDB with association, apa nama, CPM Project Management punya association tu, Certified Project Management punya association, they have signed certain MOU and then try to look into how this thing can be benefit to people at site. But still beginning. Supposed to be running a lot of things for the past, supposed to be last year, but because of this COVID things stopped for a while. But they are looking into the new skill that need to be trained on the construction managers and site managers, site people, everything. And then they targeted for free lah. We defend the budget last time, but I don't know how from CIDB to KKR. I can't sure on that one. It's not my level to comment on that one. But we do have a lot of things in order to have the construction personnel, construction people in order to embark on it. So coming to, as far as I know, coming to RMK 12, so it goes back almost similarly to prior to CIMP, where CIDB in RMK 12 will focus on CIDB only. JKR, we focus on JKR only. And then all this activity to connect every single entity will be governed by KKR directly. So previously CIDB yang kena jaga sampai ke KPKT, sampai kepada tu semua sekali. From that point of view, doesn't make sense because nak jaga KPKT susah tu, level KKR tu, level kementerian tu kind of complicated as well in that sense. So coming to RMK 12 ni, that's why CIDB will look into Construction Revolution 4.0 punya initiative. The entire construction industry goes back to Dasar Pembinaan Negara (DPN) 2030.
All right. I think
I'm not sure.
We've got only 1 minute.
For the time being, I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet who's going to be kata-kata centralized body that going to integrate all the agency.
All right. It's been enjoyable today to have you guys inside this session. I hope that we can get another discussion on this, longer one. Thank you to both Prof. Dr. Ahmad Tarmizi and Prof. Fadzil Hassan for participating in this event. Thank you so much. It's been enjoyable.
Okay, thanks, Ms. Moderator, and thanks for Dr. Fadzil as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.